All right. So, I am going to share my story. And this is probably something I should have shared a long time ago, but like any good story, you've got to have some material to work with before you can have a story. And I've definitely accumulated enough material over the years to share with you all. Um, so I'm going to talk about what happened to me on August 15th of 2012. Um, 2 days after I turned 16 years old, I was out with friends one night, and unfortunately, we got into a car accident, and the vehicle flipped, and I don't remember much about the initial flip of the car per se, but what I do remember most is feeling the car be in control, feeling like the driver was no longer in control. And I'll never forget the sway of the car. You know, you could feel like the shift. And after that, it was just lights out. I woke up and I was laying on my back, and I remember arguing with an EMT not to take out my belly button jewelry. I had just gotten my belly button pierced, and obviously I wasn't cognitively all the way there, but I just remember not being able to feel my legs. It was such a weird feeling. I think the best way I could describe it is when your leg falls asleep and it feels really numb, and you just want to like get up and shake it off so it'll go away. That's kind of what it felt like, and still feels like to this day, 12 years later. And so I was care flighted, and from that point on, I spent from August to a few days before Christmas in the hospital recovering from that accident. At the time of my accident, I was really young, and I did not know the severity of what had happened to me. Sorry. It won't ever not be um, an emotional thing. Um, but I began to learn a lot. Um, I began to learn a lot about what happened to me. Um, they had these classes that every person that had gotten paralyzed had to attend. And I think these classes are where I began to really understand how serious this was. And they began to talk about losing, control, right? When you get paralyzed, you you lose your motor function, depending on where you break your neck or back, and you also have a compromised bowel and bladder system now. So they were talking a lot about learning to catheterize yourself and the process of what that would look like. And it was moments like that that I began to realize, okay, I'm not gonna go back to doing toe touches and running track. And I was really young, and I still had so much to learn, but that was kind of the beginning. And so I continued to do my rehab, learning to feed myself again, learning to, brush my teeth and my hair, and all of those things. Lots of PT and OT, relearning to use my arms again. When I was first injured, I was on a ventilator. I couldn't breathe on my own, and I couldn't move my arms for the first 2 months. So just had to kind of work on strengthening those muscles again. And after that, I went home, and before you go home, they send you home with this really big book that's titled Yes You Can. And it's a book all about how you can still live a great life in a wheelchair despite the challenges that come with being immobilized. And anyway, the book says yes you can. I think it should say yes you can, comma, sometimes. But I joke because there is no manual book for an injury like this. Kind of like there's no manual book for parenting. And you just go home and you learn to live with it, and you learn new ways of doing things. And so that's what I did. I went home and I ended up getting my GED. I did not go back to high school. I had a lot of complications early on in my injury, and it just wasn't realistic for me to go back to school. So I went ahead and got my GED, and I spent many, many years furthering my education, to the point that I graduated with my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. So I do hold an LPC license, associate to be exact. I am finishing up my 3,000 hours of supervision right now. And after that, I will be, fully LPC, no longer licensed professional counselor associate. So that was a very big accomplishment for me, and definitely a story for another time. It was anything but easy, but I wanted it. And when you want something in life, you just do what you have to do to get there. And so I jumped through a lot of hoops to get there, to get here, speaking to you all. And after I graduated, I took another leap of faith, and I moved out of my parents' house and have been living on my own for about 2 years now. And that's also been anything but easy, but such a new, profound sense of freedom, and much has gone into all of these accomplishments or strides per se. I do require a lot of care physically, and getting through school, and living on my own. It's all possible through the hands and mobility of others. um, which is not cheap, and another story for another time. But I've been living on my own, and I've been working now for about a year and a half at a private practice called Room for Change. I love my job. I love the people that I work with. Um, I really liked. Oh, I really liked. I really like working for Room for Change because um, they're just super supportive, and it's given me such like I feel like I have versatile experience. I see a little bit of everything from kids to teenagers, adults, specializing in those with disabilities, depression, anxiety, mood disorders, substance use, um, and even geriatrics and caregiver burnout. So that's a little bit about my job and what I do now, but I want to kind of go back to the beginning of sharing my story, and part of why I started this podcast. It has to do, well, a lot of it really it has to do with my story, and when your body doesn't work and you are forced to be the observer of others instead of the doer, um, it really changes you, and makes you think about a lot of different things in this world, including the hardship that humans go through while they're here. Um, and so I created Caught in the Spokes because there's not a person on this planet that hasn't been caught in the spokes of their own life. And I want to give people the opportunity to share their story and be their own spokesperson for their life, right? You are the expert of your life. Nobody can tell your story better than you can. And I think sometimes we just have to take these really shitty things that happen to us, and we have to use it for good. And this is my way of giving back. It's my way of expressing my thoughts, my feelings with you all, the wisdom that I feel I've gained along the way in my journey, but also an opportunity for you all, to speak. This is going to be a podcast about using your voice and sharing your story, shedding light on all of our experiences, and how even when we get caught in the spokes, the wheel still keeps turning, and we find a way to just hold on. And what better way to do that than creating a community where everybody feels like they have a space to share and to be seen. Being a counselor, I've seen a lot of different things and heard a lot of different stories, and mental health is a hot commodity these days, and unfortunately not available to all. So I believe that creating a space for people to come to watch, listen, be a part of is extremely therapeutic, and it costs nothing. And so that's why I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm doing this for me and for everybody else, for mankind, for all humans. All right, that's it. Let's see what's going on with dipshit.